Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. We have some news, but before we get into that, I just want to take a minute and ask you guys to make sure that if you like this type of content, that you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell next to it to be notified of any videos I post here on the channel. And if you could do me a huge favor and give this video a thumbs up, that would be awesome because it helps the channel out greatly every time you do that. Anyway, on with the news. The very first thing that I have is a really beautiful Gallimimus model. This model has actually been sculpted by Rob Miranda, and if you are familiar with Rob Miranda, he has sculpted some of the most beautiful Jurassic Park inspired models that you'll see anywhere in the past, and he is actually considering selling this as a kit, but he's just basically at this point kind of gauging the interest on it. Honestly, it is the most picture-perfect interpretation of a Jurassic Park Gallimimus that I think has ever existed in potential model kit form, and these images really show off just how incredible the detailing aspect of the Gallimimus is. The skin texture, the overall appearance to it, everything is so spot on and insanely highly detailed that it's pretty much a must-have if you are a fan of the Jurassic Park series, or even specifically Gallimimus, because again, probably one of, if not the best Gallimimus Jurassic Park style figures that I've ever seen in my life. Not that there's too many out there, so it's nice when one this beautiful does come around. So make sure that if you are interested in this, you either contact Rob Miranda on Instagram, or again, you could follow his Instagram account, comment on some of the images that he's been posting, or on top of all of that, you can also let him know by commenting down below if it's something that you would consider picking up or something you are interested in buying, because again, it is just a gorgeous Gallimimus, and I would imagine many Jurassic fans would love to have this in their collection. And speaking of incredible sculptors who create some of the best Jurassic products we'll ever see, Marco Makes has recently teased us with this image showing off another future Rubbersaurs figure coming from him, but as you can see from this image, this is a male Tyrannosaurus. It has been quite some time since Marco has released a male Tyrannosaurus Rubbersaurs. In fact, I think he's only ever done that once before, and this is a much more updated version as far as his 3D sculpting abilities currently, and I must say that I would love to have this one in my collection. I'm a huge fan of the Jurassic Park male Tyrannosaurus Rex, maybe even more so than the female. I've always just loved the appearance of that big, stocky, bulky kind of intimidating looking male Tyrannosaurus from Jurassic Park, and I think Marco has captured all of that perfectly in the image that we can see here. Of course, we can only see the upper part of the body here with the head, the neck, and the shoulder area, but it looks insanely beautiful, and I cannot wait to see a full reveal of this, but even more so, I cannot wait to see it actually get a release. And then as we roll along here, we have even more Jurassic Park products coming out as we have a look at the upcoming W Dragon versions of their Spinosaurus and Tyrannosaurus Rex they are releasing. This Spinosaurus is actually based more so on the CG model. The previous Spinosaurus from W Dragon was based off of the animatronic, and I believe this one is more of a CG version, which explains why it looks somewhat different than the initial one, and I think that's really cool on the part of W Dragon to kind of sneak that in there without even mentioning the fact that it's based off of the CG model, to just give us that version of a Spinosaurus, as they already have previously given us an incredible version of the animatronic, and I think that this was a really cool touch on their part, but also just goes to show how insanely good they are at coming up with models that are so screen accurate. And then we of course have the male Tyrannosaurus, and this is the male from Jurassic Park 3, so you'll notice some differences as it's kind of a sub-adult. It's not a fully grown version of the male. We don't see that kind of bulkiness in the throat or anything on this one like we see on the one in the Lost World, so this is a perfect example of the male from that film, and I really like this model as well. And again, like I had stated in a previous news video, I think this might be the first time that anyone has actually released a model that is definitely aimed at that specific Tyrannosaur from Jurassic Park 3, so that in its own right is really, really awesome. Again, two absolutely gorgeous models coming from W Dragon. No idea quite yet on when they will go up for pre-order, but I'll be very interested in picking them up when they do. And then as far as the beasts of the Mesozoic line, David Silva has recently teased us with this incredible image of the obviously Dino Riders inspired Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I think it looks fantastic. An absolutely gorgeous looking paint scheme as far as this one goes, perfectly replicating the art that we can actually see there in the background of the Dino Riders Tyrannosaurus. And one thing that's interesting as far as the 1/18th scale version of this goes, I believe it will be a limited edition of 1,000. So if this is something you are interested in picking up, make sure that you get a hold of it right away when it does go up for pre-order on the 22nd of this month. David has actually supplied us with some information as far as price points for these go. With the large 1/18th scale Tyrannosaurus, it will be $200, and the 1/35th scale version will be $60. However, the special edition variants will be $210 and $65 respectively due to the more elaborate packaging. This is information that has come out from David Silva earlier today, so it's nice to have at least some idea of price point for these upcoming models. And again, the Kickstarter, I believe, is next Wednesday, so make sure you get your wallets ready. And then as far as Schleich goes, we have the final reveal of their prehistoric line for 2022, and that would be the Styracosaurus. And I must say I am overall extremely happy with the entire line for 2022. Again, some figures maybe not the best out there, of course. When it comes to Schleich, you don't always expect perfection, but as far as Schleich goes, I will say that I'm pretty happy for the most part with almost all of them, and this Styracosaurus is another pleasant surprise. I feel like the sculpt and paint job on it is overall really quite nicely done, and yet another of the many for the 2022 line that I am very excited about adding into my collection. Yet another beautiful Ceratopsian coming from them. And then as far as Nanmu goes, they gave us a look at the Brachiosaurus again and the current paint scheme that they have been teasing us with, as well as a few different images of it and kind of showing off the light, hitting it in different shading and everything to really kind of show off the difference in coloration depending on the way you're taking an image. But I must say that it absolutely looks beautiful. Again, Nanmu nailed it if you ask me as far as the sculpt of this, but also the paint. It is super lifelike, super realistic, and overall one of the nicest Brachiosaurus models that we'll ever probably see. Definitely when it comes to a Jurassic Park version, I think this is the best one that I've ever seen, even better than the Iron Studios version if you ask me. But super nice looking Brachiosaurus, super nice looking paint job. Now I await the other paint schemes that we might be getting. Hopefully we'll have paint variants of this, and just generally I'm excited to see more images of this as the figure progresses and we get closer to that pre-order date. And then as far as SP Art Projects goes, they recently have shown off some more progress on their upcoming model as we have a look now at the Dakotaraptor. The Ankylosaurus was actually finished. In my last video I had shown you guys the update as far as that goes, but I must say that this Dakotaraptor is looking fantastic. That head sculpt is nothing short of pure beauty, and this model is definitely going to be one of, if not the nicest models from SP Art Projects, which they've really provided us with some bangers in the past. If you've seen any of my reviews, I highly recommend checking them out as they produce some of the most gorgeous models that you'll ever see, and this definitely looks to be another case of that, potentially their best model overall, depicting a really cool scene of an Ankylosaurus taking on a Dakotaraptor. So there's, on top of two beautifully sculpted dinosaurs, a really cool dynamic scene taking place before us and kind of telling us a really neat story between two dinosaurs facing off. Definitely a model that I cannot wait to see fully finished. And then as far as PNSO goes, they have unveiled yet another model on us as they are going to be releasing a Tylosaurus. PNSO just does not stop. It is insane to me how many figures they have just completely bombarded us with, and how they just continue to produce more and more figures at such an incredible rate, and not only more figures, but easily the best continuously of pretty much every species that they create, and this Tylosaurus is exactly that. An overall insanely nice looking Tylosaurus, really nice realistic looking paint application and paint scheme they've gone with. So this should be available on the AliExpress store and Amazon store very soon from PNSO. And the final thing that I have from Mattel for the Jurassic World line is the fact that we have spotted yet another figure showing up, but this time in Spain, and we can see exactly the figure we are speaking of. But I must say I'm still unhappy with those brown legs. It just makes no sense to me why they would have included that. It otherwise looks pretty decent, but those brown legs are so I don't know, weird and out of place. It just doesn't look very good on the figure. I don't know that my mind will change when I actually see the figure in hand, but yet again, this is probably the third or fourth different image now that we've seen of this figure, and it hasn't become any more appealing to me quite yet. So it's still a really nice sculpt, and I'll definitely be picking it up when I do in fact find it, but not the most appealing paint scheme that Mattel has released, that's for sure. So as of right now, guys, that's all the news I've got. When more comes out, I'll be sure to send it your way, but until then, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.